Good morning. This is Shannon here with Finding the Thing. It is September 25th, and it feels like fall here in central Pennsylvania. So that feels good to me. I love sweaters and sweatshirts and apples and all those fun things. So yesterday, our local community had the Apple Festival. I did not go to that, but that's one of the things that starts to feel like fall, and everyone has yard sales in town because there's a lot of people that come for the Apple Festival. So it's just kind of a cool day here. I do want to talk about Emily. Emily is not here with me today. She is taking a break from the podcast, and I don't know how long she's going to be on break. So we're just going to wing it without her. The intention is that she will come back to the podcast at some point. But she's just taking a little break because she's got a lot going on and she's learning a lot of new stuff. And, she's new in her job and she's just kind of maybe feeling a little overwhelmed. So she decided the podcast was the one thing that she could take off of her plate. So we thought that was the best thing. And I'm going to pick up the slack here, and I am going to either be here by myself or I'm going to have guests. So next week, I'm going to have my good friend Beth Smith on, and we are going to talk about side hustles and probably talk about, we're probably also going to talk about, honestly, we're probably going to talk about photography a little bit, because that's actually how Beth and I met and how we know each other. And in another life, I did photography. And so we're probably going to talk about that, maybe give some photography tips. I don't know what we'll talk about exactly, but we're going to talk about that and side hustles, because Beth is a very successful business owner, and she has been really successful in something that was a side hustle. And so we're going to get into the details of all of that. And maybe some of you will feel inspired to explore something like that. I don't know. We're just going to talk about it. So I'm excited to have her, and she's really fun and has a lot to say. So that should be a good episode. So Beth Smith will be here with me next week. And so I am looking for new guests for the show. So if anyone would like to be on an episode, has an interesting topic to talk about, please reach out to me. You can reach me on social media, on Instagram, Finding the Thing on Instagram, or our Gmail account, which is findingthethingpodcast@gmail. Feel free to email me. I am glad to consider having you on the show right now, because I don't want to just talk by myself. I would love to have new people on, hear about new things that I don't know about. Would love all of that. So that's what I'm looking for. So if you're listening today, please feel free to reach out to me. Or if you have suggestions like of people that I should reach out to, that would be cool. So let's get back to talking a little bit about finding the thing and how my idea for this podcast started. And I do just kind of want to go back to that since I'm here today and I don't have a planned topic to talk about. But I feel like this podcast and I know I've said this before on other episodes, but this podcast came about because I was feeling like all of the isolation and loneliness from the pandemic, because I was all of a sudden working from home, doing telehealth full time. And I just was feeling like I lost all the things that really brought me joy. And I think a lot of that was from the isolation of the pandemic, because I am a person that thrives on having connections and relationships with people. And not that I lost all of the other stuff that I loved, but it did feel different to me. A lot of other things were happening in my life at that time as well, probably from 2019 until the present time, actually. And my practice changed greatly, and currently I have Emily as my colleague who works with me. And I love that so much because that is such a wonderful connection and a relationship with someone, in the work setting, because we continue to do virtual treatment. So as therapists, we are providing virtual treatment for OCD, anxiety disorders, all the things, mental health. And it's really a wonderful way to be able to serve more people throughout the state of Pennsylvania. And also I'm licensed in South Carolina. So that is another area that I can provide treatment. However, we are in our homes. We are not seeing people on a daily basis in person. And so the podcast came out of me wanting to feel like I was connecting again with people. And so even though the podcast is another virtual platform and I'm not actually seeing people, it just felt like a different way to connect and to feel like I was reaching more people, or maybe having people on the podcast and feeling like we were talking about different things other than what I do in my day to day. Even though that stuff is so important to me and it's a part of my daily life, personally and professionally, I feel like I was wanting something else, something else to talk about. And I don't know, I guess just it really was about like connecting in another way and about something new. And didn't always have to be something new, but it was just about maybe exploring again, and really, really about going on that journey of finding the thing that brings us joy and happiness. And so I've really been, especially with the podcast, I've been exploring that for myself so much. And I know Emily is as well. And like we went on that hot air balloon ride. And so there was that. And that's kind of like, that's not like an everyday thing that's going to bring you joy. That's like, a bucket list item or something like that. And, but I think we can have things like bucket lists, where we're living life thinking about, what are all the things I want to do before I die, and we can kind of live in that manner and just be doing all this stuff that like, we just want to experience. And so I might do an episode on bucket lists. Actually, I think I'm going to do a blog post on my website because I've been thinking about that a lot since the hot air balloon ride. So anyway, I'm going to save talking about bucket lists right now, but I do want to talk about something new I started this week, and it was a pottery class. And so I had previously, last year, I took a month and went to South Carolina. And I know I talked about this a little bit on another podcast episode where I spent a month in Bluffton, South Carolina. And it was lovely and just wonderful people, wonderful experience. And I met this wonderful woman named Brene who taught me hand building. And it's a type of pottery work where you are building with your hands and you're not using a wheel. So there's hand building and then there's wheel throwing for pottery. And those are the two types of pottery work that I know of. I am not an advanced potter in any way. So if there are others, I don't know. But maybe I will learn as I go. So Brent spent time with me while I was in South Carolina and taught me some hand building. And I really, really enjoyed it. And I felt like this is what I need in my life. This is part of getting that happiness and joy. And this is something that's missing. And I was remembering times in my life where I had previously been creative and really was in a creative setting, and how wonderful that was for me. So I made a pact with myself that when I return to Pennsylvania, I will seek out a pottery class and I will make that happen for myself. So I have been on a waiting list for this particular pottery studio for the past year. And I finally got in the class this past Thursday. And so now I am doing pottery every Thursday. And this is a wheel throwing class. And I guess we can do hand building too, but for the most part, it's the wheel. And so I was there, and it's a group of like 6 other women. And it's so cool. So cool. A way to connect with people, and really wide age range of people. So that was really awesome. And just creative folks. And what I want to share about, I mean, this was just the first class, and I had done one other like intro class to the wheel before. And then back in my 20s, I had also done a wheel class at an art barn. And oh my goodness, I really didn't care for it at that point. I think maybe I didn't have enough instruction, but I'd never gone back. And so this one, wow, I just want to say I left class. Well, first of all, so class is about 3 hours, and we're using the wheel, and we are having a slab of clay, and really you have to like really lean into this wheel with your clay. And like I literally felt like after I was done with class, I had done a workout. And I know I'm in pretty bad shape right now. Like I haven't worked out because I've got this back thing going on, and like I am still sore. It's like 4 days later. So today is Sunday and this was Thursday. So it's 3 days later for this 4th day. But I literally have a hand like grip strength, like soreness, arm soreness, like my forearms and even my biceps and my whole back. And then like even like my hips and thighs are sore from the positioning. And I feel like I was putting in so much strength to what I was doing. And it was awesome. So I know I came home, had a couple clients the rest of that day, and I was very sleepy. And then I went to bed at like 9:30 that night, and I literally passed out and didn't wake up all night. I usually am a person who wakes up at least twice a night. So it was so great and so fun. And I am looking forward to going back this week. I really hope that I quickly get whipped into pottery shape so that I'm not sore like this, because I do feel significantly sore. And so anyway, so I just encourage you guys to explore things like this. And yeah, it just felt so good. It felt so good to be around other people doing something similar and seeing other people's work, talking and connecting. And I'm really excited to explore this, and we'll see what happens. And I'll probably share my experience as we go. My goal is to make pots, like bowls, and to make mugs. Those are my goals. Those are 2 things I really, really love. And I've always kind of been a collector of pottery. And so I do have some things around. And I'm actually, for those of you that are watching, I'm gonna dump this out here. But for those of you that are watching this versus just listening to me, this is one of the bowls that I made when I took my intro class. I mean, it is not fantastic, but I made this, and I just feel like that's super cool. And I'm really hoping that I can improve and have really cool, awesome little pots that I make. So, and also having a goal like that feels really good. So I would love it if people would be willing to email me about some of this stuff. Like, what's your thing? Like, what are you exploring? Um, I know some people love, one of the things I've been thinking about too is pickleball. Some people love pickleball. And so, is that your thing? What about watercolor painting? I know I did a watercolor painting class and also so cool. For me, really being creative is really, really important. And so, yeah, I just think like, tell me all about it. Like shoot me an email, send me a DM on Instagram. I want to hear about it. And I might share it on an episode of the podcast. Let me know if you want to come on. I would love that. And let's go from there. I think that's all I've got today. Like, I'm trying to think if there was anything else, other than, I'm getting ready for the OCD walk. So, the International OCD Foundation, has the big 1 million steps for OCD walk every year, either in June or October. And our local affiliate, OCD Pennsylvania, which I am part of on the board, and we in the Harrisburg area are having our walk on October 1st. So it's less than a week away now. So please feel free to come join us, sign up and register. Donate if you want to donate. I'm going to post the link in the show notes again. And we would love to have you. It's a good time. We have tons of cool raffle prizes. People donate awesome stuff. American Anchor Tattoo donates a big gift certificate for a tattoo. And we have like a local dog grooming place that donates gift certificates. And so we have dog and cat baskets, all kinds of cool stuff to help raise money for this wonderful organization. And I know in a previous episode, I shared the story of how the walk started. I'll do that again really quick before we end. Dennis Asselin, he, after his son took his life, after suffering with body dysmorphic disorder and OCD, Dennis walked from Cheney, Pennsylvania, which is closer to Philly, and he walked from there to Boston. And that is how the OCD walk got started. So it took this name, the 1 million steps for OCD walk, and it's been going on ever since. And so what a cool thing, that's the story behind it. And that's how it started, and it's continued, and it has raised so much money for OCD awareness and education. And to help others with OCD and body dysmorphic disorder, that whole spectrum of disorders. So really, really cool. And we love to be supporting them. So feel free to pop on and give us a donation, or join us at the walk. Get to meet some other folks that suffer from OCD. So thanks for joining me here this morning, and give me some ideas. Give me a shout out. Okay, thanks. And follow, rate, subscribe, all those things on all the platforms.